Hey guys, it's TB. Wanted to show you new boat. I am assuming this is coming out tomorrow, but honestly I haven't gotten a confirmation. Haven't been hearing a whole lot out of Wargaming the last week or so for notable reasons, but presumably this is coming. They sent it to us. They told us we could talk to you guys about it. So that's what I am here to do. This is the Dutch cruiser that was mentioned in the patch notes as having the new Airstrike mechanic, which I have to admit is pretty cool. And so I thought that I would give a real quick rundown on the stats on it and show you the camo and how I built it and why, and then show you some gameplay. So I am going to try really, really hard this time to get through this quickly. So why don't we just, in fact, go ahead and do that. The camouflage, it's basically just that racing stripe down the side. I guess they do change the shade of the gray, but it's basically the racing stripe down the side. Pretty typical bonuses for historical camo there. Nothing too fancy. Elite bonuses. I went escort specialization. As we're going to see in a minute, this thing really doesn't need any extra help with the AA. And so really I took this for the main battery traverse speed, the turret traverse speed. The extra damage and the extra speed are not unwelcome bonuses for the little bit they do contribute. You can go max AA on this thing. I don't see a reason for doing that. So that's just me. But for equipment, I was running this with turret traverse, as I am known to do on my cruisers. An argument could be made for dispersion, as always. This does not have secondaries. It does not have torpedoes. Your main guns, aside from the Airstrike thingamajig, are really all you've got. And so for me, my logic was I know that hitting is important, but so is making sure your guns get on target. And your dispersion, it doesn't really matter how good it is. And to be honest, this boat would benefit from running the dispersion equipment. But it really doesn't matter how good your dispersion is if you can't get your guns on target to shoot them. So at least for me, my logic, my play style, I'm gonna run turret traverse. I was happy with the turret traverse on this, especially because all 4 turrets rotate 360. And I know that that actually is probably an argument in favor of going with something other than turret traverse, because you don't have to go the long ass way around. You can get your guns on target faster because they can take the shorter route. I still liked it though, and so I still I like turret traverse. So slot 2, I might actually end up playing around with this and trying running double steering on it. The speed felt a little sluggish, and so the acceleration is nice, especially if you're playing with your throttle, adjusting your speed a lot. But I felt like this thing was kind of sluggish in the turns, and so I might actually try running some with double rudder and see how it goes. I didn't do that, but thinking back, I probably should have. Not a lot of hit points. It is a light cruiser, so it does get slapped pretty hard if you're not paying attention. 32 knots is pretty standard. You get 4x2, 152 millimeter, 6-inch guns, HE and AP pretty standard, 4% fire chance, all pretty standard stuff. The turret traverse is 14 stock, if I remember right, and then I think I got up to 19 with the equipment that I was running, and I was happy with that, especially, like I said, you don't get torps, you don't get secondaries. The AA on this thing is pretty ridiculous. The large AA is 138, with a solid range on it. That small caliber though, 510 is crazy. I thought for sure that I wouldn't get dropped by anything, and that's not true. You still get dropped plenty, even with that AA, but it does shoot planes down like crazy. The legit numbers I was looking at, I think there was one game where I got focused by the carrier, and I shot down 31 planes and survived, so that was definitely nice. And then the Airstrike. We're going to look at the Airstrike in the games, because that's really what this thing's about. I have a feeling I don't remember if PC has one yet or not, but I'm pretty sure that there's a line coming of these. The Airstrike is probably going to be standard on them. It's a new mechanic. It's a new feature. It's pretty cool. I haven't faced off against one of these boats yet, so I don't know exactly how all of it works, especially on the receiving end, but we'll get into at least how it works on the attacking end. So you airstrike capacity 3, we'll get into it a little bit more in the videos with what that means. Each airstrike launches 6 planes, each plane drops 4 bombs, each bomb has a 12% fire chance and does a max of 750 damage. So each strike is dropping 24 bombs in a carpet pattern over a designated area, and it's not doing a ton of damage per bomb, but usually if you can get enough hits, it starts to add up. It does list airstrike bomber HP of 2250, so that leads me to believe that these planes can be shot down. Otherwise, why would you need them to have HP? But you get a seemingly unlimited supply of them. So even if they're shot down, it doesn't make a difference to you, because you're not launching them off your deck. You're calling them in from, well, the ether, apparently, because they spawn out of nowhere and disappear out of nowhere afterwards. But we'll get into that later. So I presume you can shoot them down, but I don't know, because I haven't faced one yet, and I haven't talked to anybody that I bombed with it, and I didn't get a chance to goof around with it in a training room. But anyways, reload time 32 seconds. That's going to be important. Again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then maximum range, 9.9 kilometers. This is crucial and awesome. So, all right. So, as per usual, I've trimmed the video footage down to cut out the boring parts and try to keep this from being any longer than necessary. This was the second game I played in this ship, and I was really pleased with the result. So, it was the best game I had in this boat as well, damage-wise. Yeah, spoiler alert, I broke 100, so anytime you can do 100K, I'm a happy camper. So what you can see here, so the that box, that's the reticle, that's the aiming reticle, and when you hit the zoom button, it gives you the elevated view there, kind of like spotter plane. You don't have to zoom in to use it, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier. And you can see we just dropped a ton of bombs, and because my good buddy Lost had set a fire that guy put out earlier, with those, that's actually a triple perma from those 3 airstrikes. So that was not a bad start to the battle. So stay. You can see the icon there is where you would normally find torpedoes or secondaries to switch armament. So I think the easiest way for most of us to understand how it works, think of them as, treat them like torpedoes. So you're gonna switch to it. You're gonna have to aim them, so you have to predict where your target's gonna be in a period of time ahead of you, or ahead of where they are. You're gonna send the planes over. It takes, I think it was like 8 seconds or so for the planes to come in, drop the bombs. The bombs, unlike carrier dive bombers, the bombs don't fall quite as quickly. They have little parachutes, so they fall slower. It takes a little longer for them to get there, but the timer there that you see at the bottom that's ticking down is the time for the bombs to impact. And once you kind of figure that out, it helps. Definitely easier to hit big targets than little targets, as we'll see in the next game. Yeah, so basically you're raining hellfire and brimstone, but there are some limitations. Just like your torpedoes have a maximum range, the bombers have a maximum range of 9.9 kilometers, so you can't just send them all the way across the map like you do regular carrier bombers and expect them to hit. Your torpedoes aren't going to go all the way across the map unless you're in an Asashio, and so you have to be a little more cautious. I learned the hard way here. The stat they don't tell you is minimum. Just like with torpedoes, there's a minimum arming distance for the torpedoes to go off. I was trying to use my cool new feature on this carrier, And I couldn't get any closer than, what did that say, 2.9, call it 3 kilometers. I couldn't drop them any closer than that. So I was actually, in this case, for those of you who like to watch and know that I do have a propensity for following carriers sometimes, allegedly. In this case, I was running away from the carrier so that I could get my bombs dropped. So there is a minimum distance. You can't, if you're too close to your target, you're not going to be able to hit them. So something to keep in mind. But I really like that maximum range. It means that you can't play it like a carrier. It's not meant to be played like a carrier. And you know, the torpedo, or the airstrike can do a fair amount of damage, especially against a bigger target, like we saw the way it was hitting those battleships, the way it was hitting the carrier. Now, it'll do a fair amount of damage. But at the same time, I know some of the other CCs have said that it's OP and that it's too strong. I disagree. I think that right now, I think I had some really good luck in this game with people straight lining, and I think that it's new and people don't know yet what to do or how to counter it. And I don't see it as being all that different from a DD that can roll up and land all 10 torpedoes on a straight lining battleship who doesn't understand how to turn or change his speed. And so it's got a limited range, it's got a minimum range, and I don't see it personally as being all that different from a good destroyer in the hands of a good player beating up on noobs in battleships. So I personally don't feel this is OP. It is very strong, especially when played well. It is a light cruiser, so battleships will absolutely chew you up if you are not paying attention to what you're doing, if you're not careful in your positioning. It doesn't maneuver all that great, and so you really have to be more conscientious when you're engaging destroyers, especially without any torpedoes and on any secondaries. You are stuck with just your main guns. They fire pretty quick. They've got a 5.5 second reload. That's not too shabby. But there's only 8 of them. See, there was a good one where I misjudged the Colorado and whiffed that whole airstrike on him. And it's all right. Lost was there to pick up the kill for me. So thanks, Lost. So I don't feel that it's OP at all. It's very strong. It's a good boat. I can't wait. I don't know how it's coming out. I have been told that it's not going to be in a crate. It's not going to be in a bundle. So I'm assuming some sort of event or the shipyard, but I don't know. I haven't gotten any confirmation on that for me yet. So I unfortunately don't have more information to share with you guys. This battle I included here because it wasn't too bad of one, and but it also showed some of the limitations that and the learning curve that goes along with the airstrike. So I've got 2 destroyers in my division with me, so and we want to hold the cap, so my priority there is to get rid of that Cleveland, because that Cleveland is a nightmare for destroyers, as most destroyer players will know. There are a couple bots in this game. I'm sorry about that. I tried to ignore them as much as I could when I could. I don't like showing you guys bot games because I don't think they're interesting and I don't think they're very fun, but there was only 1 or 2, and I think that might have been the extent of my interaction with them, was pretty much right there. But regardless of that, this battle I thought was good because it kind of showed where the airstrike is good, where it's some of the limitations that go along with it. So we timed that one pretty good. 8 hits and a fire, not too shabby. But this one, you can see he's booking it, and I think this one, if I remember right, falls short. Oh no, I guess I got the tail end of it. So I guess I didn't mess that one up as bad as I thought I did. But the Cleveland you saw earlier, we didn't get a whole lot of really good hits on the Cleveland, unfortunately. But and this isn't that wasn't the only time I'm going to go after that Cleveland, because again, I'm playing here. You can see I've got Lost right there, and Arsonist, one of the other guys from our fleet, who is well known in his own right. What's up, guys? And they're both in destroyers, so you know, normally as a cruiser my job would be to hunt destroyers, but in this game there was only one on the other team anyways, and that Cleveland being in the cap is a real problem. So you know, as I like to say, caps win maps. So you can see I'm spending Lost. You got to get that internet connection fixed, bro. You're jumping around the map like crazy. Anyways, the caps win maps. So you can see we've got we just pulled ahead because we scored a kill on their bot, but you know, we didn't have much of a lead there going into that, even though we had a I don't know what I was saying. Anyways, this Alabama, you know, whoever's driving that thing, I can't read this really small on my screen. I will commend you, my friend, for getting in the cap in your battleship. Not enough people do that, so props to you for doing that, man. Good job. If I might make a suggestion, sitting still in the cap with no cover, probably not the best way to play it. I'm a big proponent of get in the circle. Get in the circle, and you are doing that. Oh, and you are helping hold it, or at least you were. And so props to you, man. Next step though is you know, learning to maneuver a little bit, use the cover and the concealment that you might have in the circle so that you don't get just absolutely farmed. You can see that was a drop that he actually was moving a little bit more than I had thought he was, and so only ended up with 2 hits. But you know, props to you, man, for getting in the circle. It's more than your Poltava's doing. And as you can see here, I mean, we pulled ahead on kills, but holding the cap is what's going to make the biggest difference in this battle. So caps win maps, trademark. So as you can see, I was doing everything I could to stay in that cap, continue holding the circle, and my team play reflects it. I've already maxed out my team play. Looks like 39 bomb hits, 129 main gun hits, and 4 fires. So you can see the fire chance isn't real great on the bombs, really, or the guns, but it adds up after a while, especially if you can coordinate and set some permas, you know, because you do get fires with the bombs and they do work. But on maneuverable ships, it can, just like with torpedoes, it can be hard to hit them. You know, they can maneuver out because the torpedoes are going in a straight line, a certain direction, only running for so long. You know, same thing with the airstrike. It's only going to drop bombs in a certain area, and so on the smaller ships, it does make it hard to hit. So got some good hits there. So anyways, this battle's about to get wrapped up. You can see we held the cap long enough. Yeah, I ended that one. There wasn't a whole lot else to see. So this is the last one we're going to show you guys. And again, it was a good example of where the airstrike works and where it doesn't. So you can see I didn't really lead the Ibuki quite enough. Only got 1 hit there. And I decided I wanted to take a try at the Benson and see how well it worked dropping bombs on something smaller and faster, because I hadn't really tried hitting something like a destroyer yet, and as you can see, we whiffed. So doesn't mean I'm not going to do it, but it's kind of like trying to torp a destroyer. If they're halfway competent, it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be as easy as you'd hope. So we didn't even talk about the skills. Oh man, totally skipped the skills. So you can see at the bottom there, we've got 1 use of radar 2. And the only reason I thought of that was I remember in this game, we were on voice chat and I asked Arsonist, I go, you want radar, or are you just going to rush a smoke? And he goes, nope, just going to rush a smoke. I said, okay. You get 3 charges of engine boost 2. And you get 4 charges of defensive AA2. So that defensive AA2, along with that small caliber damage, really can be quite nice. So, hey, Lost, you can't go broadside to an Alaska and a Chapayev, man. It just doesn't work. Anyways, So those are skills. And I didn't go over a captain build, and the reason for that is that they didn't give us one. New country, and so there's no captains in game for it yet, and they didn't send one along with the boat. So I am really hoping that there's going to be one available when this comes out, whenever that is. But I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. So, yeah. Here, I was going to push on the red cap because there's two battleships back there, but I ended up turning around coming back just because I didn't know how much health the guys defending our base had. There was still time for us to get capped out, and I hate losing because we didn't defend the base. So, ended up turning around coming back and got down here and realized that those guys really weren't that big of a threat after all. They were more interested in running and towards the border, and those three guys had it under control. So popped an engine boost, turned around, started heading back towards air cap to help Arsonist and our other cruiser against these two battleships, and ran into these two guys. So yeah, what's up, Argons? Long time no see. So yeah, so I'm hoping here that I've been able to show you guys kind of what the boat does, show you that it has the potential to be very strong if played right in the right situations. Like here, he was reversing, so I went to set the bombs behind him, and he threw it back and forward, and so I got a few hits, but I also splashed an entire drop, and because I didn't anticipate him going back the other way correctly. So, you know, if you against straight line noobs, this thing can be really, really strong, but against halfway competent players, it's not going to. There you go, 7 on a fire. I'll take it. You know, I didn't do a whole ton of damage this game, but you know, I felt like I was contributing and helping out and trying to be where I needed to be. But it has the potential to be a really solid boat. So I don't think it's OP at all, and snuck that in there. I still don't know how I got that kill, but yeah. So anyways, hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, post them below. I'll try to answer them. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video, and yeah, let me know what you guys think, and talk to you guys next time.